Hey guys, we're back with BanterCast. I don't know why I did that voice. I'm here with Zodian 40 again for August stuff. So, Zodi, would you like to say hi?
I do want to say hi. Hello. I'm glad to be here again, as always.
Go ahead, 40.
What's up, y'all? We're here for the BanterCast, which is a. Are we weekly now because of how JP is doing things?
I think we should going to do monthly because I think the
Okay.
last one was just like a special episode because I think it's farther enough that we're into FR stuff that we could do it.
Yeah. Because with the way they spaced out events now and how they're releasing an Ope Ope because they changed to Ope Ope Burst. I'm like, okay, I think we should still keep this monthly and wait until at the very
Yeah,
end
because it's
of
only because
events.
the Ope Opes do it like only 2 events per like by monthly, so it doesn't really
Yeah.
make sense to do it because it'd be like, oh, these 2 characters, that's it. I mean, we see their
Yeah.
kit, like a little sneak peek of their kits without the fine details, but then that's it.
Yeah.
So let's get started. How did July treat you with the last time? Like, did you guys pull for Neon?
Yes, I did pull for Dion. She was close to what would be in modern day pity, so like 240, but I think she's pretty good so far. She was actually very kind on my resources with the BT for once I didn't have the token one, so I'd say I was pretty pleased with the results of my polls for that cycle.
Yeah, she was the last character from the before they did the updated summon system.
Yeah, that's what I thought was odd too, because she was still, standalone on the banner, but they didn't update the pity rates until the one afterwards. Probably because they knew she'd be a character a lot of people wanted.
I mean, I only ended up getting her FR and then just moving on. But how about you, 40? Did you
For
get any
Neon,
pity? Yeah.
I did. I think what happened was is I got I'm trying to like glance through my video right now just to remember. I think I got the FR kind of early, and then I was going for the LD, and the LD took me a little bit longer. It took me up to 280 G tokens, and then after I just bought the burst because at the time I had enough burst tokens. I was actually overflowing on burst tokens for Neon, so I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna buy it because I don't want to keep using. I was using gems because I think there was a who was it? Somebody almost ate up all my tickets, and I had like 700 plus, and ate up all my tickets. And what am I gonna do for this character? So,
Was it 7?
I think it was, and I don't know why I went that hard. Wait, no, it wasn't 7. Or was it Garnett? I don't remember honestly, but there was a character that came out during, and it was at the start of FR Echo, and burned my resources, and so I'm just kind of like, shoot, what am I gonna do? But I got the FR early. I think it was 7 multis. I got her FR early, and then I wanted to just gun for the LD, and I got it at 280, and then I just bought the burst because I had burst tokens.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's one of those characters that feels like she wanted to be a good like FR charger, but kind of more like offensive with it.
Yeah.
But I think with her her entire kit, I mean, I didn't play her much afterwards, but after her actual event. But from what I've been like playtesting with, just as her as a friend unit, with the entire BT kit, she's an updated sexer, which is saying it lightly. She's a more offensive fire enchanter setzer that relies on if the targets are allowed to be fire enchanted or fire imperiled, then you can do true fire enchant, which is when she does a rainbow damage.
Yeah.
She has a good amount of uses for what she does, but I didn't see much of a use for her when we have already strong units that cap easily.
I think she's pretty powerful. But FR Echo is just the. I mean, we talked about this before, but FR Echo is just so insanely broken right now, and it just trivializes a lot of content. To where like a lot of these characters, yeah, they're powerful, but if you've already gotten like some of the, or even the earlier ones, like Terra, I actually think Terra's FR Echo is probably one of the better ones because it's insta turn. That's that. So if you go into somebody else's FR and then you have both of Terra's Force Echoes available, that's two consecutive turns that you're taking, increasing your gauge and dealing a ton of damage. Um, I actually think that it's somebody could possibly live with Garnet and Terra FR for a decent portion of of the FR Echo content until they start releasing elemental lockouts or something like that again. But then if they have Scarlata, well, there you go. There's your answer to that.
Mm-hmm.
But no, Neon's powerful. I mean, I like the use of the rainbow numbers. I like the way that her debuff functions. I think she's cool.
Yeah, I also like one of the facts about her kit is after you use her EX, she has a lot of longevity, so you can keep spamming her skill 1, and that thing hits
Yes.
like Canes
Yeah, it does
S2.
like a million
It hits
damage.
like a truck. It's single
Yeah.
target, but it's still, it applies her debuff, instant
Yeah.
turn rate, and she gets 2 of them after an EX charge.
Yeah.
That's really good longevity on the character.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Besides that, I don't think I have much to say beyond her kit. But with Vivi was the next event afterwards. With I assume with like Neon, I only got her as FR because I didn't want to. I saw who was coming afterwards, and I didn't want to spend too much on Vivi.
I think he's another case of powerful, but if you already have this and that, you could safely pass. But he's a great option for another Force Echo to have if you have the resources to spend on him. But I'll be honest, I haven't used him outside of his release, so I actually used Neon today for the Rubicante Shinryu, but I have yet to reuse Vivi just yet. But I think he's powerful. I mean, again, in general, this new era is making a lot of characters very, very, very OP, and just spamming Force Echo like there's no tomorrow is kind of the way to go, it seems.
Yeah.
It seems like the strategy. As for Vivi, I got him in a couple tickets, but I didn't get his BT, so I didn't end up using him. I do think he looks fairly solid. I like the idea of his gimmick being like he gives himself gold buffs, so he can't have those pushed off, but practicality, there's still no stages yet that are going to force a debuff on you. Like, I could see him being useful for something like that if you can't get around it, like, say, Aerith's Buff or, like, Lena. If it's, like, 100%, you're going to get that. Like, I could see them being useful in those stages, like, really niche. But other than that, I don't see any practical use, but I don't think he's a bad pickup from what I've seen. Because I've done a couple co-ops with people that have used him, and I think he's solid. But
yeah, I mean,
solid.
You get his kit, and he's going to do a lot of damage. I mean, his follow-up, his follow-up, that it does 3 dumps now. They redid his LD to make it so that it lasts a lot longer, and they practically like quadruple the usage, the turn duration of it. So then it's going to last the entire fight. It hits very hard, and also you can just spam his HP plus now with the one where if you have his EX buff up, then you can just spam that, which is his hardest hitting move besides fire and his LD. It's very useful, but yeah, beyond that, I mean, who was his FR? Who was the other like featured character with the FR partner? Because I gotta double check that.
It wasn't Tifa, was it?
Oh wait, it might have been Tifa. So that's why it probably been overshadowed.
Yeah, and I mean, Tifa was already insane.
Yeah, okay, that's why I probably didn't like some of these characters. I didn't pull for because the other featured FR Echo character, which is that nutty. Yeah, Vivi was with Sarah. No, yeah, not Sarah. I can't speak. Tifa's with
Tifa?
Vivi, and then Neon had who else with her? Cloud Darkness. Okay, so
Oh yeah.
they had those three characters that stood out and basically just fill in the gaps and didn't didn't need you to pull for them. I mean, it's a way to save resources if you already had these characters. And yeah, we saw Tifa's already still breaking the game with her insane damage. So.
Oh yeah. She's not going anywhere anytime soon.
Yeah, but Vivi was one of the start of the characters that had the event tickets. So if you got lucky with the event tickets and the free poll, you might have gotten away with snagging his FR and BT off of just free polls. But I think I just had to use a couple ticket multis to get his FR because I mainly just wanted to get his FR for the FR Echo to make the fights easier, and for that gem ticket mission where you have to bring Vivi in your team on the Shinryu with no friend units to get that the third event ticket to be for the next event to get a free multi, which I think is fair. It's not too bad to just bring a character with their FR Echo to just like nuke the boss. Besides that, the next one was an event that I can probably speak more of because it was Sarah's FR and BT, and I went through that pretty hard, but then I got lucky with getting her FR and BT off of very, very cheap. I think I got BT off of like second gem OT, and her I think 3 copies of her FR off of free polls and the event ticket multis. And this was paired with the Bahamut Spiritus, which this event itself wasn't too bad.
No, it wasn't. Not
besides the bug that came with it.
Oh yeah, that one bug.
That's bug that makes the bosses immortal.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is definitely more a breather Spiritus fight. Which is very, very nice.
Yeah, I agree. Sarah, I had to pity the burst, but I got so many copies of her FR on the way to it that it kind of made up for it for my pulls.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
Have you used her yet so far?
Outside of Bahamut, yes. I used her for Mogs, and I mean she worked fine. She did her job. Yeah, but I used her for Mogs. But I used her, Mog, and Terra, and I spanked that Shinryu pretty easily. I mean, I just force Echo through it, and that was that. But I mean, as far as like being analytical with what she did and like paying attention, I mean, I blew that Shinryu fight up so quickly that it was really hard for me to kind of determine, what exactly she was bringing besides, all the crazy debuffs and that she's able to do. I like her, the increase of her damage output. Her damage output is a lot better now.
Oh yeah,
for sure. Yeah, and her follow-up is just super cool. I mean, you can't beat that follow-up. It is a really cool follow-up.
She does her follow-up with lightning does more damage than actual lightning's actual kit.
Yes. That's the whole ironic thing about that. But yeah, my polls, I got her BT on one of the tickets, the event tickets from Vivi, since I got all 3, and it took me till like 260 to actually get her, 260 G tokens. along the way, I kept getting Charlottas. I pulled like 6 Charlotta
Oh
FR
yeah, I
dupes.
saw
It was
that.
so painful. Yes, I'm like, I like you, Charlotta. Yes, you're one of my favorite games. Leave me alone, please. I maxed you out at release. But yeah, but my opinions on Sarah is she's definitely powerful. She's got a lot of HP dumps that puts any character to shame, and she's an aura bot, which is a nice touch. I do think that's going to be like the new standard going forward is 6 HP dumps for like support characters, then maybe more than that, because I feel like they're trying to catch up to Tifa at this point with like character damage, or at least get into her ballpark, sort of, so to speak. Like, I don't think they're gonna surpass Tifa's single target damage anytime soon, but they're getting there. They're raising everyone up to like Jack Garland, Tifa, Sid Reigns, characters like that. That's how I feel, because I feel like they're trying to phase out some of the old units in favor for these new ones. Like, you know how every gacha does, they would have that cycle where there's a huge power spike, and I think we're going through that right now. So I still think she's a safe pickup. Again, it's the case of you don't necessarily need her. Like 40 said, you probably could easily get by with like Charlotta and Terra, but
Tifa.
I'd still pull for her. Oh, and Tifa, yes, but I'd still pull for her.
Yeah.
If you like 13 and if you need a good aura bot, that's not
she's an insane battery unit, and her her debuffs are still strong. They neuter the bosses by a good margin.
Yeah, and the way she enables.
And she takes a little time with her BT stacks to kind of ramp up. As long as you just battery the party, her stacks will go up, and then lightning's follow-up will hit harder and harder. She's one of those safer pickups, because I think nowadays the safer pickups are characters that don't have any element attached to the kit. They have very good batteries to their kits, and also they're able to provide Bravey fun to the party, which she does exactly that, and many other things.
And Sap's a really good debuff to have on any character, especially if the boss gains a lot of Brave. I know there's those ones with Brave floors, so you can't knock them down to 0, but hey, they come in clutch a lot of times.
Yeah.
Like the stat ability. So I like I said, I think she's ultimately a very safe pickup.
Yeah, main thing is that
overall,
she can carry her own damage and not like hold the team back. And also her FR is very strong. Her conditions itself is just you battery the team, which most characters can do. And as long as you have at least like 8, the max amount of debuffs on the party, if it's like 8, then she provides a huge buff to the FR percentage, so a lot of people can benefit off of that. And yeah, the only downside is her FR animation is kind of like Minwu with the EX animation, which is kind of like sorta. But I think the highlight is lightning in the animation.
Yeah, no, it could have took a little more time with that animation for her. There's a lot of characters. You have like Jack Garland, you have Mog, and then you have like reused animations like Sarah and a couple others. Or worst case scenario, like what's her face? Ursula has one of the laziest ones, sadly.
But the fight itself, besides the bug that kind of made it kind of slugged for, that kind of just dragged it on for a lot of people. The fight itself is definitely a breather, the easiest one out of all the Spiritus, mainly because you just need to have 8 debuffs on them to make them fully not interact with you entirely for the minimum, so that you can deal damage to them. But then beyond that, I think the gimmick was, besides having the 4 debuffs on there at minimum, if you have 8 debuffs on them at the very end, then the bosses just straight up die. Don't remember anything beyond that.
That was essentially their gimmick. I don't know if they warped or not, because they died so quickly. And this was, I even tried to run without FR echoes, and they still died quickly.
Yeah, they're very squishy. I think. Oh wait, that was it. They reduced their duration on the debuffs at certain HP threshold. So if you had characters with higher like debuff duration on them, then it will ensure that Sarah's FR hits hard enough, and or their conditions don't proc and they don't interrupt the party.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the only thing I remember about them, I'm not trying to get off topic, but they can cut through evasion. They have guaranteed hits. Because I did try to use Yuri, I forgot about that. I just wanted to do a clear with him, and I was like, oh, they have guaranteed hits, never mind. And I benched him, so that's the only gimmick I know they have going for them, other than, like you said, about being able to damage and killing them. But they are, like you said, a huge breather.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to sound like elitist or anything, but if people are struggling with them, if, say, the bug doesn't come to global or something like that, which it shouldn't, but say it does, if people are struggling with them outside of that, you should bring some more debuffers or some calls, because, like I said, they are an 8-turn clear at the minimum. Or heck, I bet somebody probably did before, but yeah, they are way too easy for their own good.
Yeah.
Call abilities like Caius or Meditalian, Ferris. There's a good amount of them, Sarah, that can just put unique name debuffs on them, and then their conditions should be fixed, and you can just go ham on them with Tifa or whoever you want to for DPS.
No, absolutely. Even Kadaj works there.
Next event after that was Mog FRBT. I mean, I think Mog has probably the best animations so far.
Oh yeah, and I mean, I love the upgrades that he got. I mean, he went from, I mean, when was the last time anybody ever really used him, unless you're a fan?
Probably Sanity.
Yeah, and now he's like, and now he's great. Double follow up, chance to confuse. Just an overall really versatile kit, and the damage output is solid. I picked him up, and I'm pretty happy with him. I'm actually gonna try to take him to more content because he's just overall very fun and brings a lot of different options to the table. I like him. I really like what they did, and animations. Yeah, I mean, you can't really go wrong with his animations. They're freaking adorable, and for a fan favorite character, for him to get all these upgrades, I think I was really impressed with what they gave it.
Yes, I mean, his entire kit on paper looks really good. I mean, his BT is a little bit shorter in terms of not of the essay, but it gives the party water enchant, water imperils. His FR guarantees that he puts on 2-turn confuse, and any kind of debuffs you have on the party at the end of the turn will just remove one of them on each member. So team members are all going to have no debuffs on, so nothing to really interrupt your damage, and also the bosses aren't going to be able to attack you, and he hits ridiculously hard.
Yeah, he does. Double follow up, I love it. Great versatility. I think my only disappointment, not with him, but something indirectly related, is that they brought Kane back, thinking, and we all thought, oh, Kane will finally get FR boards. Where the hell is his?
That's the only big downside about that, is that we have no idea what the criteria is for who gets FR boards and who doesn't.
What the hell, game? Kane has the worst FR, for real. I'm if anybody ever needed an upgrade, it would have been him.
Yeah.
And they gave him the middle finger. They were like, nope, you gotta wait. I'm he's still great. I mean, we still all use him, even up to now, just because, him retaining effects in the air and his follow-ups, he's just great, right? But come on, make that button at least somewhat competent and, enticing to press, because unless you burst with him, fully burst with him, which you're probably never gonna do that because you want him in the air, you're never gonna press that button ever. There's no incentive to press it.
No, absolutely not. Like you said, it's just it's confusing. They held him back, other than I don't get it either, because it's not like if they gave him just that upgrade now to do anything else to his kit, I don't see an issue. Because if they're saving him for a new weapon tier or something like that, that doesn't make sense. If they think they're flooding it too much or they don't want to see as much Kane usage, I don't get it. I really don't get why they held back on him.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I mean, I thought, oh, they probably just Kane got pushed off because Squall was the seasonal banner character, and they wanted to give him the FR board slot. But at this point, I have no idea what they're thinking about in terms of who gets FRs and who doesn't, or FR boards and who doesn't, because in Rubicante event, we don't even, Yuna was featured as well, but she doesn't even get FR boards either. I'm like, what? You know, like, what's happening? It's like, what's the criteria for getting FR boards now? Unless they really, really, really want to slow it down.
Yeah, because even Jack Garland didn't get him either.
I mean,
and he came back.
I can sort of understand because he was a seasonal campaign character. But
True.
at the same time, it's like, I mean, now it's like we're just guessing on what allows the devs to choose who gets F4 boards and who doesn't. But yeah, Mog though, very good.
Yeah, no, Mog's great.
Yeah. So did you get Mog?
I did get his FR. He's one of the cases of, unfortunately, like BV, I didn't get his BT, nor did I threw a lot of tickets at him because I really like Mog. Mog is like my second favorite character of 6 period, right after Locke. But yeah, I didn't get it, but from what I used of him with his upgrades, because I do have him built besides that, really, really solid character. Like you said, you covered like pretty much everything I'd say and sing in his praise.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even if like you want to build characters nowadays with BTs, with, I know there's minor exceptions, but I'd say he's still, probably you could view him as a budget option for a cleanser, like a party cleanser, if you don't have a built Yuna. Like, he's perfectly serviceable then, as long as you have the FR. But I would say, you know, get the BT ultimately in the long run. You should always gun for the BT if you're going to be using a character, if you can help it.
But
except for, okay, there's like Warrior of Light. He's like the minor exception to that too. But
yeah,
I think he's good.
If you just want the character only to get the event mission like cleared,
yeah,
his LD kit alone probably should be enough to get you by, because he's gonna carry enough damage to get the event done. And also, yeah, Tifa can carry you. Like, I'm gonna be saying that a lot. Tifa is gonna be carrying everyone if they want to get by. I mean, I'm still seeing Tifa clears when I search up some of these fights.
She's fantastic. Like, honestly, great follow-ups, great solid damage output. It doesn't even matter if she's, you know, primarily single target.
Mm-hmm.
When has a non-single target fight ever held her back? You know, when has that ever held her back? It hasn't.
Nope.
You know, she's just so good.
Yeah.
You know, and if you run into elemental lockouts, well, then bring an enchanter, bring freaking Charlotta with you.
Mm-hmm.
But she's just so good, and just so, for a damage dealer, just so well rounded for what she can do, and her output is just fantastic. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I promise not to talk about Tifa anymore, unless.
No, she's great. She's great. I don't mind. You know,
she has enough self-sustain. She's pretty much a Swiss Army knife for a lot of content nowadays, so there's nothing wrong with bringing up her viability. Because I know a lot of people who don't play JP aren't going to know, like, oh, is Tifa still good? Is Tifa still good? You'd be like, yes,
there's a hot take right now. There's a hot take right now floating around. I think it was a very opinionated. I think the post was baiting, honestly, but it was just so. It pretty much said that Tifa is overrated because she's only single target. I just rolled my eyes at that comment.
Okay.
Yeah, I was like, okay,
Okay, she's only overrated if you don't have the blue dress on, because if you have the blue dress on, she does 1,000% more damage. No, I'm kidding.
Yes.
Ultimate
that blue dress
win.
matters.
Also, for blue dress, if you have it equipped, will give you a slight increase to your BT and FR luck per rate.
Yes.
Also,
everyone's gonna go for that blue dress.
Yeah, that blue dress is awesome on her. It looks so good. But speaking of DPS, Squall FR and BT.
Yeah, Squall is for a damage dealer. I mean, what more do you want?
Yeah, they really, really buffed the hell out of his kits.
And for anybody out there that's telling you guys that Squall is still just a damage dealer and he's not that good,
He
they
does
are
it
not
well.
credible. Not every unit needs to be a Swiss Army knife where they heal, tank, and do everything for you. Then what would be the point of characters having rules?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, anyone telling you that Squall, is just a damage dealer, well, I mean that's what he's designed for. That's
Yeah,
what
but
Tifa's
yeah,
designed
I mean
for.
he
Do you
does it
want Tifa
well.
to start healing you too? So yeah,
He does
just
it.
had to get that out there because
Mm-hmm.
there's still that really. It's been floating around ever since Squall, first got his 35 CP on global and stuff, where like people were saying that Squall's just a damage dealer and he doesn't do enough. I'm like, what do you want him to do? You want him to heal you? Like you want him to tank? What do you want him to do?
They want him to
Yeah.
use freeze. I don't know. They want him to summon Shiva, use his guardian. No, like you said, I don't see why people make such a big issue about his kit.
I mean,
He was the original like AOE master, AOE damage. I don't see why they have to change up his niche. I mean, his kit's constantly evolving anyways.
Mm-hmm.
He's
Yeah.
becoming a better and better DPS. What do they
That's
want?
what he's made for. He's a damage dealer. It's like saying Rubicante sucks because all he does is tank. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, he does it well. But yeah. Squall was like additions to his kit. I mean, the main thing is his BT plus rework, which adds a lot to his kit. I mean, HP damage up, a lot more HP cap up to his kit. I mean, his BT plus gives him like 80% alone to his kit for himself. And the main big thing is after he uses a skill, his EX is automatically charged, which his EX has like 7 dumps, and then on top of his follow-up is another 3 dumps that hits ridiculously hard.
Yeah.
And on top of the FR,
it's nasty damage.
yeah. I mean, I calculated afterwards when I saw his full rework kit. But if you have his FR and BT plus up, he has 205% HP cap up.
Yep.
That's including if you have ultimate weapon and his high armor, which I think some people nowadays might have already. Which
seeing as what he does now,
I'm
pretty sure people would invest for him in the future now if they already have his full kit. I mean, I'm pretty sure a lot of people that have been playing this game for a while on the global side probably already have a majority of his kit because they pulled for him when he first came out.
I mean, yeah,
especially when he first got his.
Worst comes to worst, you utilize the ultimate weapon, like refunding, resell a ultimate weapon, get the cores back, and then invest into the great sword for it.
Yep.
It's a very, very good kit. He does a lot of damage, speeds through co-ops very quickly, does a shit ton of damage, and yeah, finally got him BT plus after the co-op shop that we got recently to give me enough BT and gets to max him out. And yeah, he's very, very good. A very, very good, competent DPS unit.
Yep.
I mean,
DPS. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh yeah, no, I was gonna say the only downside was I saw some horror screenshots of how deep some people went. And I'm like, oh my god, I feel bad for you.
Oh yeah, there was that one person in my server. I felt really bad for them. I think they went 600 because they were not getting either the FR or something, and I was like, oh my god, that's awful. Yeah. I feel bad. I mean, that's just RNG, but still, I can't help but feel bad for that person. Yeah, I saw that.
I saw 600, 680, and 700.
Oh. Yeah. That's just RNG. There's no other way to explain that.
Yeah, but I don't. Yeah, I feel like the RNG is gonna stop for me soon because I secretly thought that they buffed up the FR and BT rates for this change, but I guess it might be only selective for certain accounts. I'm kidding, by the way.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I know you're joking too, but it's just like, oh gosh, like you said, 700, 600, oof.
Uh-huh.
I hope that person has good polls for 3 years straight at this point.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the new structure of how the events are, and with like the 4 events like style and how the rewards are distributed. How do you guys like the 4 event style so far?
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel
I
like
like
the
it.
game has like too much dead time in between events.
No, I mean, because for me, it's like, I mean, I've been playing this game for so long that them reducing the events, it allows me to go at I don't have to rush content, and I actually have more time now to play other games, right? Rather
Mm-hmm.
than them, spamming content like how they used to. I actually am okay with this, and I do like the increases and changes they made to kind of compensate for it. So it still incentivizes you to play through the event, but it also is not making you rush it. You know what I mean? I personally am okay and am for the changes that they've made. And in no way or shape is this mean that the game is dying. Still seeing that. I don't know where they come up with this headcanon garbage in their head, but game's not dying. I think the game still has, a good shelf life as long as, it makes decent amount of money for Square. But yeah, no, I am perfectly fine with the changes that they've made. I don't feel rushed. I can play other things too. I'm not just like trying to like only play DFFOO because that was, as a person that, as a gamer, I wanted to play my other games, but I always felt like, man, I got this doing defo. Oh man, I'm gonna miss this out. Oh man, I should rush this now, and it felt like a chore. Now it doesn't feel like a chore. I'm like, oh, I'm actually enjoying this. I could go to this whenever I want. I have all the time in the world, and it's not a big deal. What about you, Zodi?
Yeah, no, my thoughts are pretty much the same. At first, I wasn't like, oh, it's a dead game. I'm just like, oh, wow, there's not much to do. But then it's like, yeah, like you said, it gives you more time to dip into your backlog, play different games. It's not like Defo. You should not build your whole gaming experience around Defo. And I understand not everyone can run out and buy new games, but I would at least tell them this: if you're whaling on Defo, if you're making Defo your primary game, put that money towards maybe another experience you could play on the side. And I understand Defo is a fun experience, but it shouldn't be just, every minute of your day is Defo, every minute of your day is catching up on it. I love it as much as the next guy does.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, it's more relaxing. You can take it at your own pace. It also doesn't make you feel obligated to pull for a bunch of these new units. The power creep is a lot more gradual at this point. It's not, oh, it's at the end of the month. Oh, I shouldn't have pulled for that character earlier. Like that
Mhm.
could still happen in theory, yes, but you're able to pace yourself and get more resources in the long. Get about the same resources, but
I
there's
think it's
less event.
more.
Yeah, I think it's a little
Oh
bit
yeah.
more.
Oh, you're
Yeah,
right. Yeah.
it's more. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't see any harm to it. I mean, hey, maybe they're using this as a way too to. I know it's a meme at this point, but maybe they're trying to gonna catch up global once they hit this, or at least get them like 2 or 3 months behind. I don't see an issue with that, honestly. I don't
Hmm.
I like the formula so far. It's making me play other stuff. I'm still playing Defu. I'm still having fun with it, but I'm
Hmm.
allowed to not dedicate quite as much time to grinding out stuff that. And people were complaining about copy paste events. This is actually helping where things don't feel quite as copy paste anymore either. So
Hmm.
Hmm.
I'm liking it. I'm liking it a lot.
Hmm.
Yeah, I guess the only downside would be in Trying Wills or Lost Chapter events don't have the permanent challenges where you can get the BT ingots and BT tokens or any of the like those kind of rewards, because I think all of those have been ported over to the co-op shop, where
Yeah.
there's a lot of goodies in the co-op shop.
Oh yeah. I'm loving this new co-op shop.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I'm glad they added the skip tickets because it gives you an option to like, okay, do I want to play with other people and potentially wipe because I might run into somebody that doesn't know what they're doing, or do I want to just skip through this and get what I want from the shop and be done? I like how they added that. and and they also works for you know, Summoned Word Farm or Divine or Spiritist Farming or whichever one that you're doing, you know, depending on when you started the game. Yeah, I like that, the changes they made to that too.
Yeah, and we saw, and they even included Shinryu co-ops, which was this the first time they did that, or was it the second time?
I think this is the second time.
Oh wait, yeah, you're right.
Second time for this era, but it's like it would be the third time overall.
Okay.
Because you said Shinryu, and didn't we have Shinryu's back with the Lunafreya event? That was a Shinryu, right?
Yes.
Or no, was that a Lufenia? It was one of those difficulties, but it was still. It's fun to have co-ops like that again, ones that aren't over in a couple turns if you like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
If you like playing with like friends or not, and if you don't, there's skip tickets. So
yeah, if you skip tickets, then you can just like use I think like 5 of them, and then you got all the tokens in the world to skip the event. And okay, yeah, someone, thank you, Orange, for confirming that. Yeah, Lunafreya had a Shiryu co-op. So yeah, I think
a while.
The standard now is going to be at least Lufenia co-op, because it's enough to where you have to do the Lufenia co-op a couple, or at least a couple like full rounds to get enough rewards to get all of it, because you definitely want all of the rewards. You got, I think when I saw there, they had like 80 tickets, like 2,000 gems, or I think maybe a little more, high power stones, a 3 BT ingots, an entire BT book, and I think 10 BT ingots, BT tokens. I think it's a lot to where you don't want to skip out on these co-op shops to incentivize doing these co-ops, which is it's very helpful. But at the same time, them loading this co-op shop, this limited co-op shop with all these goodies. I mean, at the same time, I think we have enough like permanent content to where people can go back to those permanent content events and then get enough resources to build up a good roster to build up the BT ingots, BT nuggets, books, and all those EX plus stuff. Also there's permanent like Transcendence, FEOD, where you can grab a lot of that stuff. I think it's okay.
Yeah, no. Definitely is. Oh, another thing that's worth mentioning, the current co-op that they have in JP that's tied to the Rebecante event, it has a different enemy, which is sort of neat, so they're spicing things up there. And it has its own set pool of character board points. So for the free-to-play players that need character board points, they don't have to worry that, oh shoot, I only get 4 a month where I can get stuff. No. You have these unique co-ops that have their own set that you can get some from Rebecante's event, and if you're struggling to, like, say you couldn't do the challenge Lufenia, the challenge Chaos, well, now you have an option to get the rewards from the co-op shop. So I think it's friendly to, new players. I just thought I'd mention that because I was thinking about that.
Oh yeah, that's true.
All that stuff's tied to the shops.
Yeah, with how much character board points that you need per character now, because you have to go through their FR passives and then FR boards and then their character boards. Yeah, it's definitely a lot more.
Yeah, it's not like it's not rewarding challenge experienced players, veteran players anymore. We're getting those tickets from dragging the featured unit through a Shinryu or whatnot if they're unbuilt. Shinryu, and yeah, it's I think they found a good formula.
Unless you're unless you're Shadow, who's still like poor in character board points, can't character board every single character, then good luck.
I was surprised he was low on that, but yeah. Unless you're building every unit, which I don't recommend doing, unless you're like not free to play, yeah, you should have a significant amount of character board points left over.
Yeah, or if you don't occasionally get the Mog Pass, because I think some people can't get the Mog Pass on JP still because of weird billing issues, but yeah, worried about character board point spending like increase that you need to spend on global, then you should be fine. And if you're going to be building every single character, then the occasional mock pass here and there probably should be enough to suffice and kind of like allow you to build enough characters. And also they put co-op points, character board points in the co-op shop, so that's another source you can get from to help build some of these characters. But yeah, I like this formula, even if it's a little bit dead time, like a week spacing between these events. Lets me play more Lost Ark and more people, and then I can try out Tower of Boobs.
There you go. Yeah. Off topic. Everybody should give Tower Fantasy a chance. I enjoy it. It resonated with me a whole lot more than Genshin ever did. And I tried Genshin when it first came out. Yeah, I like this game a lot better.
Okay. After that, we got the Red Man himself, or the Sunburned, or Real Looking Man.
The old demon.
Rubicante.
He is pretty busted.
Yes, I like him.
I mean, even with Elemental Lockout, I just run him with Charlotta. There, done. You're good to go.
Oh man, I think I'm the only one who does have Charlotta BT.
Pretty insane. I mean, 6 HP dumps because he does 2 counters if you have everything set up. So much reduction that he can't get hurt pretty much because he just brings himself back up, and he can heal himself too. I mean,
granted,
he's really strong. I have really nothing.
Oh, go ahead.
It's on skill 2, right? I think it's on a skill 2, and then like on one of his counters, I think he heals.
His FR, well, the FR is up. If his HP goes below 50%, then he heals him back up to 50% of his HP.
Yeah, he's ridiculous. He's ridiculous. Is all I can say. Yeah.
The AFK party is very, very good.
Yep.
I mean, I paired him up with Celeste, and if those 2 elements are not locked out, then those 2 just go ham, and they just offload so much damage, and it's just counter, and you see the damage just keep on increasing. It's like you just put the phone down, and you don't have to do anything.
Yep. Yeah, he's really. There's nothing much to say other than that. His kit's impressive. He's really good. Just watch out for compare. I already see people comparing him to Wall. I'm like, dude, they function differently.
Wall doesn't.
Don't compare those 2.
Wall is way more defensive. He just make sure that your party never dies. Yes.
He's supportive.
Yes, they have similar like conditions where like if someone with the shield buff gets attacked, it's 40% up. But with Rubicante, he's always going to get attacked no matter what. He even bypasses like players, other characters like Provoke. He makes it so that his Provoke takes priority over everyone else's. So he's getting attacked all the time, which means he's getting that FR percentage up higher with his FR condition up. I mean, I think the only weakness he has is he doesn't have Last Stand. But if you just stack defensive like buffs on him, like with Core or Beatrix, or even just being like Freya with you to give him Last Stand, then you should be fine.
Yeah, Freya or Porum would work fine. I know Porum's kind of old at this point, but she's still pretty good in my opinion.
Gladio Call would help him too, right? The LG.
Oh yeah,
true.
Yeah,
that would.
I think the only fights that where he's absolutely not going to work is when his element is completely locked out, and where there are boss fights where they bypass all HP damage reduction or brave damage reductions.
Yeah, but I mean, how often does that occur? So
yeah, there's very, very few. But I mean, at that point, there's like a big enough tells to let you know that hey, maybe this Rubicante isn't meant for this fight, and you should bring someone else.
Yeah, I mean, there's not gonna be that one unit Well,
it's not like
I want to
Swiss
say
Army
there's
knife.
some, but yeah, there's not gonna be that one unit where you can always bring him into every single fight.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Like there's gonna be that one or two or three fights where they're gonna get shut down by something.
Yeah.
You know, and where you're like, okay, maybe like for example, when I remember I know we're going a little off topic. When Jack Garland first came out, I was like, oh my god, negative brave damage.
His damage is
broken.
insane.
It's insane, right? But then there's that little nuance that they added where unless the enemy is broken or unless you break them or they're already broken, he's not gonna be able to output what he's supposed to do. And guess what? They threw an event at us. I think it was literally like right after him or 2 events after him where you couldn't break him and you're like,
yeah.
okay, well I can't bring Jack Garland here and expect him to do what he's supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
So there goes that.
Yeah.
You know, there's always going to be that 1 or 2 or 3 stages where it's like, okay, this character's probably not going to work. You know,
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that you should discredit them. I mean, that's why there's character roles. That's why there's diversity. You know, in the way that they create these characters. Yeah, exactly. But in general, Rubicante is fantastic. I love what they did with this kid. I love it. That's all I can really say.
Mm-hmm. I mean, downside is he looks ugly as hell, but his kit is amazing.
I have no problem with that. I went after 4 guys, so I think his design is fine.
I mean, the best kind of opinions I heard about him is that from Omar. He said, "Oh my god, the guy put sunscreen only on his legs, and he only got sunburn every other part of his body. He looks like a living red lobster."
He's the Lord of Fire. Like, leave him alone. He's honorable. He was nice to the party. He heals you before you fight him because he's honorable.
Yeah, he healed General Leo.
Give the man a break. Yeah, he heals General Leo. Gotta give the man a break.
Yeah.
Give the Fiend a break.
The guy has a very good kit. He's an FR charger. He's a tank. His damage itself is pretty good. He fire enchants the party, unlike someone like Braska.
Yeah, Braska.
Or doesn't have like their fire enchant tied to the BT. Yeah.
He has a taunt aura.
Yes,
like Layla does.
Yeah, taunt aura built into his buff, and also he has a bunch of buffs, which is I think not that, which is good and bad. Bad because you can what's it called characters like Luna Freya may have a hard time sticking her buffs on, but bosses that like to put debuffs on you can't put on debuffs because you have all buffs on.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall I like him. He's very, very good.
Yeah, no, I
Looks
love him too.
So I'm not sure if he gave you time to give your impression as well.
All about Rubicante. I didn't get his BT yet, so I haven't had a chance to use him. FF4 was my 3rd Final Fantasy, so I'm not trying to skip him, because I've already skipped a lot of characters I like. Like I said, Bog and Vivi are 2 characters I really like. This has been a bad month for trying to skip characters. But from what I seen you do last night, yes, I know it's his featured event, so they're going to showcase his abilities to the very best, which I think it's good for character events. They do that.
Mm-hmm.
But oh, he looks great. I'm not trying to make any weird comparisons either, but for a counter tank, he's amazing. Yes. Especially with his BT event effect up. He is insane. Like, I've seen you do the provoke, and then you did the core provoking thing.
Yeah,
it just works. It works amazing. Like, I did that with, like, funny enough, I did that with Edge in core, because Edge also provokes, but he's an invasion counter tank. But just the sheer amount of damage. He has a heal in his kit because it's true to his character lore. Just everything about him, and the fact that he has insane damage reduction on himself. I'm very impressed, and I wanted him. I want him a lot more now. The more utility I see him bringing. Yes, like you said, he's not going to work everywhere. They're going to shut him out. But for what he offers at this point in the game, I'd say, is really good. I want to see how well that ages in, months from now. But I still, I still think he'd do well in 6 months in the future, just because he is a counter-based unit. And the more stages that you can use said units, he's like I'll use the Edge comparison again. I was still using Edge up to this point, and he hasn't had any form of reworks in over 10 months. And he was, those units have very, very long amounts of longevity. So I'd say that I'm sold on him. I'm completely sold. He's going to be greened by the end of this month for sure.
Oh yeah, I think that's the other downside about the events is that you only get one event to kind of go for the BT for these characters, which you have to kind of decide do you want them or not want them right there and then.
Yeah, no, that's been my huge issue at the moment is I have the books, I just don't have enough of the other resources to green them.
But yeah, Core works really well for him. Beatrix works really well with him. Celeste works really well with him. Anyone who can give him even more defenses, if you want to go with the full defense party, works well. The only thing I would say is make sure that you take off any kind of evasion off of him because you want him to get hit. Besides that, yeah, I tested him out on Cloud Darkness fight, and he works fantastic for it. I think the last kind of like small thing we want to talk about next thing was Kurosame FRMBT for Transcendence 14. They talked, strangely enough, they don't think they showed off who the bosses are for this fight, unless they missed it, but Transcendence 14, Kurosame's gets his FR is, if you're using ice damage and if the targets have his stackable debuff on, depending on how many stacks there are, that's how much it'll increase his FR percentage, which is good. And then I don't think he has any actual like auras with the FR, but I think it also applies 5 stacks of his debuff when he uses FR, so it'll get you up and ramping up. But
so
go ahead.
You want his BT effect active, right? Because you want the stacks to prevent from reducing.
Yeah.
Before you go into his FR.
Yep. Yeah, you can talk about it for if you want to with the BT and what it adds to his party for his kit.
Yeah, the highlights are it prevents stacks from reducing from his debuffs and party buffs, and it also increases effects that's inflicted with the 5 stacks of the debuff. So in a nutshell, it's really playing off of his this Hyodo debuff, which is the one that makes him more vulnerable to ice damage and also increases the amount of HP damage. It pretty much gives you HP damage up on whatever enemies inflicted on it. But yeah, you would essentially want the BT effect up, and then if you're choosing to go into his FR, that's when you would want to activate the FR. I think it's a cool design. It seemed like his it's kind of cool how they made these upgrades based on that one particular debuff, which, even in the beginning when Kurosame first came out, that was one of the things that made him stick out so much, and that's why he was he even lived on as a call for a long time, even up to now. I still use it. It's still a really good call, so I like how it's playing off of that really powerful debuff. I'm excited for him, and I mean he looks freaking cool. He's freaking Sub-Zero or bootleg Kakashi, whatever you want to call it. He looks cool, so I'm glad that he's getting these new weapons and excited to use him as an actual party member.
I think the only thing is that his BT translation name is kind of a spoiler for what happens to him in Type 0, but beyond that, I think someone told me what happens to majority of the Type 0 class. Anyway, if you haven't played it, but what are your thoughts on it, Zodi, on Kurosame with this limited info we got?
Well, the whole thing about his BT effect, like you guys pretty much touched up on it not reducing is a huge game changer, because now you don't have to be worried about, I don't want the enemies to take a turn while I have my FR effect up and it's at 5 stacks. Now you can just let him go, maybe pair him with somebody like Rubicante, and you can maximize how much those debuffs provide you each turn. So I think that offers him a huge amount of utility. The fact alone that he's getting the BT treatment is, for lack of better words, really cool, and I'm happy to see him get it as well, because I enjoyed using him back when he was really, really relevant. I know he got decent upgrades around Aerith's time. I didn't use him much because I didn't have him built on my JP account. But to be able to use him almost like, what's it been, like 2 years at this point since he's been usable on I'll say global, it's exciting. So I'm definitely gonna pull for him. I'll probably have to wait a while to green his BT, but from what I see, like you guys have said with the what they've showed us in the slides from the OPOP, I'm looking forward to seeing what else he gets.
Yeah. I might have to go for his FR at minimum, depending on how the fight is. Depending if the fight requires, if it's gonna be as bad as like Transcendence 13 with Dark Knight Cecil, where if you didn't have the FR to kind of like minimize the annoyance, then it might be somewhat hard if you don't have his FR. But I think I should go for it anyway. But whether I get his BT or not is probably might not go for his BT. I'll probably just go for his FR at minimum. But we'll see.
Well, I need to go for his BT because I have 50 burst tokens and I was supposed to use in Rubicante and ended up not. And now I can't buy the burst tokens during the co-op because I'm at max. So I'm like, okay, I need to use it.
Actually, here I'll probably say this about Kurosame. Depending on who the next character is after Kurosame is, I might go back and pull for his BT if it's depending on who the next two characters are at the start of September. Before I make the jump and dive into who and invest into Kurosame. But yeah. I want to see what else like increased effect that he gets from his 5-stat debuff can't speak. What it gives. I think after that they just said that there's going to be something else that's going to be promoting, or at least encourage you to have Mug Pass, which is a challenge event, which if you have it's similar, the way they worded it is similar to like a divine or spiritist grind, where if you have the synergy characters and a Mug Pass, you speed up the grind and then you get rewards. And they said, I think the only thing, the reward they told us about is that at Mac is that you can get up to 250 tickets, which is good, which is, another set of tickets that you can replace. Any thoughts on
I like that change.
Helps incentivize.
Yeah, I like that change with the 250 tickets, because since we're now getting 4 events with a BT and an FR, with a potential brand new FR and BT, since pretty much every character can get that now, it gives you a bit more resources. They've already given us the 3 tickets that you can earn if you are able to do the challenges for the previous event. You can use those for the next event, and now that they're giving us more resources and more, I think that kind of compensates again. I think they're doing a great job of like compensating for the changes that they made to the gacha and the changes they made to the events and the frequency of brand new, high level weapons that are coming out, because FR and BT are currently the end all be all for each character. So I like how they're giving us more ways to get more resources. So it kind of again compensates for the change that they made.
I think the last thing we want to talk about is something that me and Zodi discovered last night, which is because we don't speak Japanese, there's a button that Shadow showed us, which is when you're like building the party in the party menu of the character, there's a button that pretty much allows you to look at their like what's missing on the character, and then you can tap on each section, a pull down menu, and then go and buy each individual piece of gear for them, which is especially extremely helpful for armor pieces, so then you don't have to go back and forth between the menus and buy 35, buy the 70 CP, buy the high armor and all that.
I think that would be cool.
Oh, it is already in there. It is already in the game.
Oh,
but
it is.
Me and Zodi
I've never seen it.
Yeah, me and Zodi just figured it out. There's a button that does all of that for us.
I
Oh.
bet they announced that, like, made a big deal about that in the global community, but unfortunately, I haven't been following much about the global sides of stuff lately because I played JP primarily. Well, actually, I
Mm-hmm.
played JP now. I kind of dumped global, but yeah, no, my mind was blown. I'm like, how long has this been around? And the chat was like, oh, it's been around since around the start of the FR era. I'm like, how did I hear about this? So yeah, no, that's a huge quality of life change that they made that I was wasting all this time that I didn't know about. And yeah, like you said, it was just something I learned that was new that apparently a lot of people either knew about or aware of.
Mm-hmm. Essentially, you go it like for armors and stuff. You can just tap on like each armor that you're missing and not maxed out, and then it'll bring up a menu to where you can buy all of them, and then it'll go into another menu to where you can max it out, and then it'll go on to the next piece of armor, and so on. And even for all the other pieces of gear, like their spheres, their artifacts, everything. So you can essentially see everything that is missing for the character, not that it's missing on them for them to reach their full potential. I mean, I was like, it saves a lot more time now.
Makes me question why they still have the other menus
Mm-hmm.
at this point, other than if you wanted to see, I guess for like some of the boards, it makes sense if you want
Yeah.
to see how many characters you have geared and whatnot. But I don't see that being something they couldn't just implement into the party menu, or you could sort on by character board points or something like that. Just shine a light more on that feature. Again, it goes back to the fact I don't speak Japanese. I don't follow the global the monthly you know, overviews, the slides and whatnot. I just play GP. I look at the OPs, but I don't necessarily understand what they're saying because unfortunately I don't know Japanese.
Yeah. I think we covered everything. So, anything else you guys want to say before we close out this episode?
No, nothing much. I mean, just continue to enjoy the game for what it is. Change is good,
Mm-hmm.
and I like the direction the game is going. And watch out for hot takes.
Yeah.
And utilize your online sources if you're unsure about something. There's so many different ways that you can learn how to play this game and understand characters and team building and what a character's role is and all that. There's a lot. It's there's so much. So that's all I have to say. And also thank you once again for hosting this Mr. Board for Mr. Blobs. This BanterCast. This is cool. It's chill.
Yeah. As always, Zoe, do you want to say anything else before we close out?
Oh, just like pretty much what 40 said. Don't worry. I don't think all right. It's not. I don't think the game's not dying. They're probably trying to catch everyone up with this recent power spike. It's a natural process. A lot of gotchas do. Yeah, you could call some of this garbage time, but a breathing period is always nice to build up your resources. And it's if you have friends that are interested in the game, I would definitely recommend they try it out. Or heck, if you're interested in JP, right now is a great time to jump on board and play because you can easily build up a lot of resources for future content. But yeah, thanks for having me on, Blobs. It's been a pleasure as always.
Mm-hmm. I think the only thing I was gonna say is it's gonna feel real bad once free polls stop because that's one free multi that won't go into the G tokens to make it less painful to pity a weapon or whatnot. But besides that, thank you guys for watching and listening, and I'll make sure to post everything, all the links to 40 and Zodi stuff in the description. So see you guys next time.